So really trusting this autofocus right now. So we'll see how this goes, or this is going to be a complete cook up. What's good, everybody? James Jackson here. I'm back again with another video. If you're new here, I do tips, tricks, news, and reviews for the film and video making industry. So if this is content that you like, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that button so you can stay up to date on all the content going forth. So today we are here to talk about this guy right here, the Sony FX3, and we're also to talk about Blackmagic Raw. As you can see, I have the 5-inch Video Assist 12G HDR attached to it. Today I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of shooting BRaw. I've actually got a chance to shoot it on a corporate event, so I got my thoughts on it, and today I'm going to present that to you. For those of you guys that are very new here, you will have to download the firmware update, the latest firmware for the Sony FX3, and that is Sushi. I guess he wants to join in on the video. But to make sure, you guys have to download the firmware for the Sony FX3 that has the BRaw support. You also have to make sure you update the Video Assist 12G HDR to where it supports the Sony FX3 and Sony FX30. I should also point out that yes, the Sony FX30 also can now shoot BRaw as well. So let's go right into the positives. First, thank Blackmagic for sending the Video Assist over for me to try out and review. One, I love the fact that with this 5-inch monitor, it's still really compact, and as you can see here, this is like a nice little kitted out cinema rig that doesn't span it, because to me it's like the FX3, like with its design, it's designed to be small and compact, so I can run it right off of this. And I especially love the fact that I can power both the FX3 and the monitor with this. For those of you that may not know, this right here is the Inu P63 power bank. I absolutely love these guys. They're like, I think like 55-60 bucks a piece for this. This has 25,000 milliamp hours, and they will last all day. One of these guys will last all day with the FX3. Even with the Video Assist attached, you will get pretty much a day run. I would say about 8 hours with the Video Assist attached. You'll get about 8 hours of runtime, which is still really good. But I like the fact that you can take a Type-C port, run it into the DC port, the lock-in DC port, and run it also into the FX3, and then basically you keep it powered and compact, so you don't have to rig out this. You can still keep it small and compact. So that's point number one. Point number two is the fact that since the Sony FX3 is a 4K sensor or 4.2K, but basically it's a lower resolution compared to a lot of its competition. What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Like, why are you showing your butt to the? Sorry about that. Anyways, the positive that I have about this is the fact that because it's a 4K primarily only camera, you basically can shoot directly to V90 SD cards. Pretty much almost every other camera that has a higher resolution that shoots 6K or 4K, you basically have to go with SSDs. You don't have to necessarily do that. I shot most of the event. Shot the event pretty much on V90 SD cards. Now there's also a trade-off. There's also a but to that. That's only up to 30 frames a second. When you jump to 4K 60 raw out, you do start jumping frames. I'm going to do thorough testing, but I do know that at least 5:1 and 12:1 compressions, it still skips. So I will check Q5 and maybe Q5 4K 60. Actually, let me run some cables and let's find that out right now. Hold on. Right now I'm just going to run power to the monitor because I already have a fully charged battery inside the FX3, so it's not going to make that much of a big deal. So this is actually sort of a good way, I guess, to demonstrate the pros and cons of this setup of the BRaw formats, but let's go ahead and show. But let's test out this theory. You have, first things first, you do have to go in to the raw tab, so which is all in the it's in the external output. You want to go to HDMI output settings. You want to make sure raw is put on, and then we're gonna turn on the video assist. Video assist is on. Now the big thing that I think I should mention, as Sushi likes to call, is that if you want to change the settings, you have to change it in the camera, which is a bit of annoying, but we're going to go to 4K 60. No, 4K, so we're going to switch to 4K 60, and then I'm going to shoot. I only have 11 minutes. That's crazy. So I'm actually going to go to constant quality and go to Q5. So constant quality Q5. Let's see if this was run. So this is a pro grade V90 SD card, and so I'm going to hit so I'm actually going to just go ahead. Let's take this off so we can sort of give it. So I'm going to let it run, and let's see. I'm going to just let it run for a minute. So in the Q5, so right now we're in Q5. We're using 4.2K at 60 frames a second. It does appear to be working. It doesn't appear to be dropping frames. All right, so this actually works. It looks like it's it's actually running really well. So yes, you can shoot 4K 60 onto the SD card, but you have to shoot in Q5. I'll test to see if any of the constant qualities like Q3 or Q1 where we can use it without dropping frames, and then I'll leave a text down here so you guys will know if it's you can go with the less compressed options in constant quality. I just know the constant bitrate ones, for it's not enough. You will drop frames. So that actually takes off one of my cons and goes back fully into positive. But I think I'm going to cut to one con that you probably guys have already seen, and that was the fact that in order to make any changes in the settings, you actually have to change it on the camera. You can't change it on the monitor itself. So that's something that you just have to be aware of when you're filming with the FX. When you're filming, is that you have to make changes there. But then you also can't hit record. So if you hit record here, it lights up and it looks like it is recording, but it's not recording. You actually have to hit record on the monitor itself. So this is such an annoyance, and it's something that I want to say just be careful of. So if you are trying to run and record B-Raw, make sure you hit record on the monitor itself. If you hit record on the camera, it will not record. It will look like it's recording. The camera will light up and will look like, and it will say that it's recording, but in actuality, it's not recording. And it's not even sending a record action to the monitor. So hopefully this is a bug that Sony and Blackmagic can fix, can work together to fix, because that's something that needs to be addressed relatively quickly. In terms of other positivities, since I am a Blackmagic shooter, all my cameras are Blackmagic. I got my Cinema Camera 6K, which is actually filming me right now, and I'm using the continuous autofocus for it. But I also have my Pixis 12K, which I recently just got. And with B-Raw, this now intercuts beautifully with the other two cameras. Even though the Pixis 12K definitely shows in resolution, but I love the fact that it integrates with the Gen 5 color science now through B-Raw. So it allows me to intercut with my other cameras, so if I'm doing multicam shootings, the FX3 now works beautifully with that. I guess it's time to go into the cons. And I guess I already sort of briefly talked into my first con. This next one is actually potentially a pro, potentially a con, it may be neither, but it's something that you should be aware of, and that is the fact that if you're going to go through B-Raw for the FX3, you're locked to the Blackmagic Gen 4 or Gen 5 color science. You basically lose the Sony color science when you go through B-Raw, and you're locked into either Gen 5 or Gen 4. And you can switch between those and you can change your gamma and you can change your color space. But in terms of the color science, you're locked to those two profiles. So if you're in, say, a Sony workflow, and you're used to working with a Sony color science, this is something that you may have to just you're going to have to get used to, or may not use that at all, but that's another thing. So I guess this is a good time to talk about post, because obviously the big thing we now talk about is the fact that ProRes Raw is now supported in Davinci Resolve. So it kind of begs the question, a lot of people are like, what's the point of Blackmagic Raw if I can just shoot ProRes Raw directly to Davinci? And that is a great question. But I would also like to say there is a difference in terms of controls and accessibilities in the Raw tab between ProRes Raw and Blackmagic Raw. With ProRes Raw, you have way more limited changes to your raw metadata. With Blackmagic Raw, especially if you change the gamma curve and the color space to Blackmagic Film and Blackmagic Design in the Raw tab, once you do that, you unlock all the metadata access points to the right. So you can change things like lift, gamma, gain. You can change the highlight roll off, the shadow roll off. You can change the contrast, the saturation. So that's really a good thing. The downside, and I guess this also goes into another con, is the fact that you don't have access to your ISOs or your white balance or your tint, which I know for a lot of people that's probably going to be a bummer. Given the fact that those are the big three that most people like to change when it comes to raw metadata. Now you can change the exposure which behaves, quite honestly, with the FX3, it behaves almost identical to like changing your ISO. It behaves roughly the same, and even when you lift it up by like a stop and a half, 2 stops, it's still really, really clean. So obviously there's a limit to how much you can lift it up, but it's pretty decent and pretty good. Back to ProRes Raw versus Blackmagic Raw. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that while yes, you do have access for ProRes Raw in Davinci Resolve, but the raw access are very, very limited currently, and Blackmagic Raw is going to still provide you the best options for the FX3 in terms of what you can control and what you could change. Overall, my thoughts with the FX3 and the Blackmagic is I feel like if I'm going to be doing a multi-camera shoot and I want to just sort of have a compact camera, a cinema camera, where I can rely either on autofocus or something like that, or I have a multi-cam shoot with, and I'm intercutting my FX3 with my Blackmagic cameras, this is definitely going to be possibly a go-to for me. But I'm gonna be honest, I still love how just being able to just run the camera, the FX3, as basically just like on its own. So I think for the most part, I'm still, if I'm using the FX3 especially for like my YouTube content, I'm pretty much only going to be using the 10-bit one. It saves way more media space than the raw files, and it's just more travel friendly and things like that. However, when there's those moments where if I'm traveling or not, where I want to enhance the quality of my film, I'm glad that I have this option here where I can go out in the RAWs and it works really well. There just needs to be a few things in terms of quality of life that needs to be tuning for me personally, and then I think it will be a big hit. Anyways, these are my thoughts on the Sony FX3's BRaw support. I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know. Leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.